What happens when you stop smoking?
With over 7,000 chemicals released each time you light a cigarette, it's no surprise that smoking is one of the leading causes of preventable deaths worldwide. But with 1.3 billion people actively smoking, what actually happens when you stop smoking?
I feel like most people nowadays don't even smoke. I remember when I was in high school, a lot of people that I hanged out with didn't even smoke because it just wasn't cool. I feel like that's something in the 90s. Of course, vaping and all that kind of stuff and the sins nowadays, that's a different ballgame. But back in my day, like 2019, 2015, when I was in high school, not many people smoked. Of course, some of the seniors did it. Some of the friends I had did it. But the peer pressure really wasn't there. It was mostly like alcohol.
Within the first 20 minutes of quitting, your blood pressure and heart rate return to normal. This is because the nicotine in cigarettes released epinephrine and norepinephrine, which increased your heart rate and narrowed blood vessels. These effects also cause smokers' extremities to feel colder, but by now your hands and feet have returned to their normal temperature. 2 hours in, and the nicotine cravings begin, causing moodiness, drowsiness, tense feelings, and even difficulty sleeping.
2 hours in? That's crazy. If anyone is like addicted to smoking, but like cigarettes specifically, I need to know, is it the same like rush, like head high that you get by from vaping? I would assume so, right? Like, isn't it the same amount of nicotine? That's one thing I've never understood. Like, nicotine patches, sins, jewels, cigarettes, do they all have the same amount of nicotine, or do some of them have more than others? Because I remember when I quit vaping, because I did vape for a long time, like for 5, 7 years. I remember I used to have cravings, but they weren't that quick. It was never like a 2 hour craving. It was probably like 2 days after, 3 days after. But having cravings the same day, hours after I stopped vaping, never.
Because nicotine also releases more dopamine than normal, these are expected physiological responses to the decrease in its release. 8 hours after quitting, and the inhaled carbon monoxide clears, allowing oxygen levels in the bloodstream to return to normal. Carbon monoxide and oxygen compete to bind to hemoglobin in your blood, which stresses the circulatory system, so as it clears, there's more room for oxygen. However, for long-term smokers, this carbon monoxide exposure causes red blood cells to increase in size, making the blood thicker and causing higher blood pressure and increased chances of developing blood clots.
There's literally no good things about smoking. And that's something I learned years down the line. I mean, I kind of knew it. Like, we all know drinking, smoking, all these vices, they're not good for you. Yeah, they might be fun at the moment, but you know it's killing you. The only thing is, like, vaping for me, like, I kind of was peer pressure, kind of not, because it was just like in a social setting, but it was more appealing to me. Like, smoking never was appealing to me because it smelled like shit. It was just uncomfortable. I always saw older people doing it, and the people that I associated or that I saw doing it just looked like losers. Now, when I was introduced vaping, a lot of the people my age were doing it, and it was also like, what would you rather have? Like, smoke tobacco or a mango flavored pod? That was like mango flavor, cotton candy flavor, grape flavor, like it just tasted good too. I feel like that was a lot of the things that lured me in to that vice.
Surprisingly, 24 hours after quitting, coughing will actually increase, which is your body's way of clearing out all the toxins from the lungs. Additionally, at this point, the risk of developing various coronary artery diseases decreases, all within 24 hours. After 48 hours, when nicotine and its metabolites are completely eliminated from your body, damaged nerve endings begin to regrow. The tar and other chemicals in cigarettes leave fewer taste buds that are flatter with less blood vessels. They now begin to regain their sensitivity, making food taste better, although chronic smokers may often have irreversibly damaged taste buds. At the 72-hour mark, nicotine withdrawal peaks with headaches, nausea, and cramps, as well as emotional symptoms like anxiety and depression.
My roommate went through this. I remember when he finally decided to quit vaping, he had a kind of withdrawal, but it only lasted like 3 days. Like, after a couple of weeks, it wasn't that hard. But I know it depends, like, from person to person. Like, it can hit you hard with the anxiety and all the withdrawal symptoms. But isn't it crazy? I feel like the difference between vaping, the Zins, and the cigarette smoke is, like, they might all affect you the same way negatively, like, down the line. But for me, the biggest thing with cigarette smoke is that it, like, got stuck to you. Like, your breath would smell, your clothes would smell, and it was just nasty to be around. That was a big thing for me. If I saw a girl smoking, that was an immediate turnoff. Immediate turnoff. Because imagine like making out with a girl and you just have like cigarette taste in your mouth. Like, oh, nasty.
These symptoms can be seen by most addictive substances, including caffeine, but after this period, the worst is officially over. After 1 month, the risk of developing type 2 diabetes, cancer, and cardiovascular diseases has already decreased. In 3 to 9 months, the damaged cilia in the lungs are almost fully repaired, which are hair-like structures that help sweep away dust and debris, and as a result, symptoms such as coughing and shortness of breath are almost completely eliminated. And around 1 year, the risk of developing heart disease as a direct result of atheroma formation, which are deposits of fatty material or scar tissue from deteriorating arterial walls, decreases by almost 1/2.
They're literally telling you all the bad things that come with smoking, and people still do it. You see how in the cigarette boxes, they even tell you this will give you cancer. This will literally give you cancer if you keep smoking it, and people just ignore it. That's crazy. They should do that with alcohol too, but it's so normalized. That's the thing when you put these drugs in a normalized setting and society accepts them. Like you won't bat an eye by someone drinking or smoking, especially smoking like every single day because it's so normal. You know it's bad for you. You know it's horrible for your health. But since everyone does it and it's seen like even in the movies they made it seem like so elegant drinking and smoking, like that was something cool to do, you know, all the movies and stuff. I don't know, it really does change your perception over time on what these substances can do to you.
In 10 years, the chance of developing lung cancer decreases to half of someone who did not quit smoking, and in 15 years' time, the risk of heart attack decreases to the same as someone who has never smoked their entire life. Of course, this guideline is not definitive, and the average amount you smoke per day or year will play a role in how well your body recovers. Unfortunately, there will always be some irreversible damage to the lungs and increased susceptibility to developing various lung diseases. And while quitting may be difficult, the benefits greatly outweigh the initial withdrawal.
You know what really sucks? The people that get lung cancer and they have never smoked a day in their life. And you know that how there's people, I think my grandpa did it, but I know a lot of like people can smoke till they're like 96, smoke every single day of their life, and they didn't die from cancer or from a smoke related illness. And then you can see like the most healthy guy, the most healthy girl, and they get unfortunately like a lung cancer, mouth cancer, or something along those lines. And that just makes you think like, wow, like life is so unfair because you can do everything right and you can still get one of these horrible diseases even if you're trying to avoid them.